Hello, welcome back to another episode in A Spiritual Ascension, my 5-year journey, telling my entire story of my ascension journey, which was 5 years from beginning to end, what happened before, what happened after. So when I left off, I just landed in the Portland area of Maine and again fell in love with everything Maine. It was so funny because I had assumed when told that I was to go to the New Hampshire Maine border that, okay, they want me, I must be staying, somewhere along the border, but probably in New Hampshire, not understanding that the main purpose of them starting me at the New Hampshire Maine border was for me to use my spiritual navigation tools to kind of amp those up to go through this period of connecting with the divine on a um, greater level. And having already, psychic abilities and everything like that, there's something in being led, um, navigating, being spiritually navigated. There we go. I think that's right. Being navigated spiritually um, by the divine to move towards your destination, your destiny, and listening. And because I'm clairaudient and I'm clairsentient of feeling where I was supposed to go, like I had that feeling that I was supposed to go north now. There was that period in Wells that, okay, stay here for a while, okay, just kind of sit. And then right after I said putting my feet in the water, there was this movement, like it was like kind of like, okay, it's time for you to move again. It's time for you to move north. You need to go more north. And I'm like, oh my goodness, they're pushing me more north, and I didn't feel like thought I was going to go that far. Anyway, ended up on that Sunday staying at a hotel in Scarborough. That Monday, I got up and I went into Portland for the first time and walked around there and just fell in love with the city. I think when I got back that day in Scarborough, um, I was at the point where my money was almost dried up. But I was tired. I was like, okay, Spirit, we've been doing this now for 2.5 weeks. And similar to if you've been following along my journey from New Jersey to New York, which was also about 2.5 weeks but that was a travel on foot, you know, and whereas this one was a travel in a car. And there was still that aspect of being outside and kind of really connecting with nature during both of those times. But I was at the point where I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. You know, my money's dried up. I don't know what I'm going to do. I may not be able to afford a room at this point, along with the security for that. And I'm just like, F it, I'm going to just for the next couple nights, staying in this hotel. I got a really decent, nice hotel room. And I said, Spirit, I'll put it on you now that I need to find something now. And I got in touch through Facebook Marketplace. I got in touch with this gentleman who had a room for rent. So he said, And he was much further north in Maine. But at this point, I didn't care where it was. I just needed to land somewhere. And he said, you know what? He says, I just um, rented out that room. He says, but here's my brother's number. He may have a room available for you. And I said, oh, and he said, that might be even better for you. It's a little closer to where you're at. So I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I reached out to his brother, um, which the room was in Casco. And again, for any of you people that out there that are familiar with Maine, um, I didn't even know where Casco was. I had no idea Casco, you know. And reached out to him, didn't hear from him. You know, this is probably, this may be Monday. Oh, no, I think when I talked to his brother, that was Monday. Tuesday morning, I still didn't hear back from, you know, the other brother. And so I'm getting a little frustrated because now we're going on Tuesday evening and I didn't really want to spend more money. I ended up booking a second night in that hotel, but I'm like, after this, I have a certain amount of money. If I don't come through with something now, like I'm not going to have enough to get anything. And he finally contacted me and he says, can we meet later in the week? And I said, yeah, that's fine. You know, I was just like, at this point, whatever. I think when I got up Wednesday morning, he had texted me and he says, can you come today around, I think, 2 o'clock in the afternoon? And I was like, yes, 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 yes. So I had spent 2 nights in that hotel room and I was like, okay, I know that this is it. Like I could feel that this was going to be the end of that part of the journey. And I like timed everything and I'm just like so anxious, you know, after I checked out the hotel, um, looking at the map, the saying it was going to take about an hour to get from where I was up there. So I drove up there, beautiful drive. My first time seeing Sebago Lake. And I was like, oh my goodness. So if you're familiar again with Maine, you know about Sebago Lake, and it is just absolutely beautiful. It's the second largest lake in Maine after Moosehead. I'm learning all these different things about Maine, and it's just that's where all the tourists come for, you know, in the summertime is to go boating and swimming and have houses out on to rent houses out on the lake. I should really keep that quiet, I think, because more tourists are going to come. Anyway, as I'm looking at the map, so I don't know if you guys remember or if you're just coming into this for the first time, when my father in spirit was giving me all these instructions about what to do. And one of the things was, you know, to go to the New Hampshire Maine border and, you know, had told me I was going to quit my job and all these different things. So the medium who was relaying all this information to me at the time said, I don't know, there's something about Naples. And because I have no idea what that means. And the only thing I knew was Naples, Florida, right? And of course, Naples, Italy. And I'm like, Naples, Florida. I said, well, you know what? My paternal grandfather came from Florida. And I don't know if there's anything that has to do with, you know, the Naples there or whatever. So as I'm driving up to Casco, looking at the map, and where I'm about to land there, um, I see Naples on the map. And I'm like, oh my goodness. This was 2000, 7 years, 7 years ago that my father had told me about Naples. 7 years ago. And here I was. This was where I was supposed to land. This was my destination. This is where I was supposed to be. And I was, because Casco is pretty big. There's Southern Casco, which is more near the lakes, and Naples goes right across like the Long Lake and then Sebago. And I was like right on the border of Naples and South Casco. And I was like I was really practically in Naples. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like I was floored. So understanding that even though they didn't give me understanding that that's where I was supposed to go, end up, I didn't know anything about Naples, Maine, that my navigation that I was being led to was to get to that destination, to that destiny. Beautiful thing. So I'm going to leave it there. A whole lot more to tell you. I hope you guys are enjoying this. It's a healing experience for me to be able to talk about it because I really haven't talked about it with anyone to this extent. And I just appreciate you guys being here. Please like, subscribe, and yeah, please like, subscribe, and share, right? And I'll see you in the next one.